I can hear you loud and clear, man.
Awesome. So like I said, Cody, welcome to the podcast. You're going to be on season 2 now, or of season 2 of the Odd Man Out podcast. So you get to
Love it.
be a part of the new format, which is the same as Captain Content's format, which is just talking, right? It's amazing how easy content can be.
Exactly. You know, I mean, the pirate costume was good though. I'm not gonna lie.
But I was getting too many comments on the chest hair, and I was like, well, I can't maintain this. Yeah, so I was like, I'm not,
that was the struggle. It was the chest hair that really like overdid it. It was like I gotta drop this. I can't keep going.
Yeah, when investors come to me and they're like, why'd you stop Captain Content? I'll be like, it was the cost of doing business with that guy and his chest hair.
The cost of doing business.
Cody, before we get too deep, I'm going to drink some coffee, but why don't you give our audience a little introduction to who you are, what you do, and I'm just going to put my mic down and let you riff a little bit.
Sure. We run a boutique broadcast production company called Film Quality Services, FQS for short. We mainly specialize in gaming, sports, and music content. We're all about live. All of our stuff is broadcast based, whether you're streaming on Twitch or whether you're going to YouTube. We're platform agnostic. We do live event activations. So we've done everything from creating original content with the NFL, going and doing like gaming activations right on the floor of the Super Bowl, to some more original content pieces that we have done for Amazon, where we do like the technical execution and bring the engineering of the creative ideas that they have to life, right? We're experts at that. We've done it since 2019. We have a studio out in Los Angeles and that produces a lot of that content I was talking about. And then we have an office here in Atlanta that we're working on opening and getting more useful for sound stages and for traditional film production.
Nice. You crushed that intro. Give me a hot second, and we're going to pretend like I didn't set my ISO level too low on that camera, but you did great. Yeah. So let me up this a little bit. I was doing I got called in as the ringer for a dance show over the weekend to photograph. And
a dance show.
My fiance is a theater and dance teacher for a high school. So I do. Yeah. She's great. I love her. Shout out to my fiance. But this is about you. This is your podcast. So Cody, we go, I mean, we've known each other almost a year now, right? Like, I think I don't even know. I don't keep track of it, but we met forget where we met there too. Do you remember where we met?
I guess if you add like the time that I was trying to get you guys onto Spotlight, which is one of the shows we were working,
right.
Then we would include that time. I met you through what's the other gentleman that was there?
It was through Offbeat Connections.
Yeah. I was trying to find other people because there had been an ask from our showrunners to do more VTuber content. And I saw Alexander, that was his name, Alex.
Yeah,
running around Stream Atlanta going and saying, hey, I'm looking for like talent and other pieces. And I was like, well, I don't know if I can give you talent, but like I might want like your talent. So we started talking about that. Didn't work out for the show. But that's how we connected. And then, the
rest was history from there. Now you can't get rid of me.
Now
you can't. That's awesome. Well, I mean, I can definitely attest to the VTuber space not knowing at that time what to do, and I still think they're figuring it out. But yeah, man, I'm super excited because we talked about you talked about your facility. You have an actual sound stage in Georgia, which I think is a huge opportunity that I want to talk about because me and you always talk about how can we put people in this, right?
Yeah.
So why don't you give us the lowdown, as much as you can share, because I know it's not open, but you're the boss man, you get to talk about it. So I'll let you why don't you describe the space for us, because this is an audio podcast. So describe your space and kind of what you got going on there.
I mean, we have owned the space and we built the space in the 1980s. Originally, it's a chemical warehouse. That was my family's business. So they had a different business called FQS, Fuel Quality Services. Mine's Film Quality Services. And when we built, the premise of the building was that it was a chemical warehouse. So we have a lot of the function and features that you need for a sound stage, which is mainly office space and then actual like big open box space. But it was never really meant to be used in a filming capacity. So I think ultimately our biggest challenge right now is what are the things the filmmakers are going to need in order to utilize this space? And then what are the things we can do to spruce up the space and get it working for that, but also not break the bank in the process, right? So it's what are the high priority things that we need to get done? So I won't get too deep into this, but like for me, it's very much like technical debt, like IT. We really need to make sure that we have really good internet feeds and good wiring throughout the entire building. We've built that up since the 1980s. Times have changed. That obviously needs to get spruced up. Soundproofing, right? Lighting grids, power. All of these things are things that are needed on bigger productions, and they're things that we have to figure out how we want to use our space. But to take a step back too, because I didn't really describe the space for this this podcast, because I'm a visual guy. We have a 20,000 square foot space here in Flowery Branch, Georgia. It has two 4,000 square foot warehouse spaces with about 10,000 square feet of office space. So we have plenty of office space for anything and everything. We have a training conference room that can fit about 30 people that we're going to convert into a control room. Obviously, the warehouses that were used for chemical storage now can be used as those sound stages. And then kind of where I'm sitting right now is where our offices are, but it will basically be the control room for what we're calling like Studio B. So we have it like separated that we think we'll be able to rent it out as like a Studio A, Studio B, depending upon like the size of a production. We're planning on putting in a cyclo wall, big cyclorama, big nice white green screen thing so that people can be able to
that's going to be incredible because I don't even know. I worked in the perimeter and finding a cyclo wall was hard, but the ones we did find were a big one, but those were like way out of our budget, right? Like incredibly because they were so in demand when we were using them. But that's awesome. That's phenomenal.
Yeah. So we're trying to build something that's going to be not only just for the smaller budget shows, right? Because I think there's not many of those and they need those type of spaces, but we're trying to also look at things that what we need to do for like larger budget content that we can create. What can we do in-house so that I don't have to go drive down town to do it. So it's,
that's what it, like, I think the small stuff makes sense, right? Like, I think people are pretty like, they look at like my little setup here and they're like, all right, cool. That's what Cody films. I think what would be really interesting for you to kind of talk through is like the potential of like, where do you see a studio of your size, right, and capabilities? Like, what kind of productions? Like, we talked about it. We talked about like, Netflix shows. We've talked about productions. But what do you want to share about it?
This is like the question that every person that I tour through the space asked me. And because we haven't had a lot of things shot here, my answer is always, I don't know. But through all those conversations, I've kind of had a good feel of what I think this space is going to be best for. I think it's going to be good. So personally for us, like, we have enough space for mostly all the live stream things that we're going to be able to do. And we could build stages and sets for skits and whatnot, like original content. Not really worried about it at the size and scale that we are. For others, I think the best use of the space is going to be either music videos, short films, small narrative pieces, seasonal shows where they have like the same set that they're using over and over, or maybe a movie where they want to go shoot by the lake, but they want to go and build a couple sets nearby and have everybody around here as a home base. Corporate work obviously is commercials is an easy one. Those are the kind of things I see. I don't see us shooting the next Marvel here. We're not Electric Owl. I'm not Trilith. Like, I get that. I don't have the space for it. But I think we could enter the foray there because there's no one out north that has a studio or has the size and space that we offer.
Right. And that's why I really wanted you on the show, because you and I have talked about the future, like the creator economy, right? And
Sure.
we've definitely talked about creating content as like a solo creator. And now I'm sure you're starting to see more YouTubers kind of like maybe they're starting to pick your brain a little bit about space. But oh shoot, dude, I've been doing this all day. I apologize. I was at the passport office all day. Where was I going with that?
Office.
Yeah, dude, I'm getting married in Jamaica, so I have to get a passport. I've never been out of the country.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Doing a whole eloping into a foreign country.
Yeah. Well, that way, like, if it goes wrong, I can just, disappear pretty quick. Yeah.
Got it. That's it. Just get in the boat and be like, shoot the finger guns.
International waters, dude. Pew pew. Yeah, I'm a pirate. Part-time. No, but what I was like really interested in like talking to you about is where you see the opportunity for like these bigger YouTubers, right? Like, I know everybody uses Mr. Beast as the example, but let's use him because everybody else does. I could see an opportunity where like a Mr. Beast would be the perfect client for you in your space for like a long, something like a 1 month challenge. Is that kind of something you could picture?
Would. I mean, my spicy take on this is that I think in the days of old, it was the brands leveraging the creators in order to show that their brand was hip and cool and attach loyalty to the brand. But I think it's actually reversing now. I think we're at a point on the roller coaster that you're going to be seeing more content creators who are then going to just be leveraging brands to make them look hip and cool versus the other way around. Because if you look at it, like, I remember a show that we did that was supposed to be with a large Fortune 500 brand, and they were working with a big artist.
Okay.
And they were like, we want to go and do this big release of items and equipment that we've created in collaboration with this artist. And I was like, well, that's a good idea, but how are we getting it out there? Well, we're going to put it on our Instagram. I was like, okay. And I look at their Instagram, and their Instagram, they have maybe like 30,000 followers. Okay. And maybe only have like 200 to 300 people who like follow them. And they're spending watch like videos, and they're spending big money, stupid amounts of money on this release. And that's the point that they're going to announce to the world about this thing. And I'm like, did you not think about going through the artist and then posting about through the artist, because the artist has 50 times the following that you have, right? And that's going to be more impactful, but they don't look at it that way. They look at it like, well, we're the brand and we're paying for the activation, so it should be on our page. And I'm like, that's not, people aren't going to see it. So like your biggest, and that's what I think brands are starting to really realize, and that variety shows are starting to really realize, is that you can't build variety shows on Twitch or on YouTube or these other places. There are some that do well, right? As long as they're like homegrown bred content. But realistically, I think a lot of the new age is less like Burger King, KFC, like that type of stuff. And it's more of Mr. Beast, Airrack, those guys, Ludwig going and saying, I'm doing this thing now. I have this creator brand, and then I'm building a clothing line, and you should be a part of that clothing line. And then brands are maybe so lucky to work with those creators because their engagement is so solid on their content. So where I see the road going is that, like, I don't think the brands will be funding the content. I think it's the creators who are going to be funding the content, with the brands kind of on the coattails. And then our productions are going to be mainly focused around like helping out the creators. Because another thing, get another soapbox here. That I've found is that like brands aren't creative in the fact that they need creative teams to create creative content so that they get following. I think like Wendy's, you know, and how they basically turned the persona into, you know, the Wendy's girl who like claps back at everybody, right? And they made that like the social persona, and it's worked out. It's been like a good persona for her. Where I see this going, I lost my train of thought.
No, you're good, dude. Take a second. Because I cut this stuff anyway. I do the same thing.
Where was I at?
So you were at where the creators were going to need the brands, because the brands have the leverage now, right?
The creators going to need the brands. The brands, they need the leverage because, I remember. So it was a good one for Wendy's to do that. However, like not every brand is creative. Creators are the flip. They have to be creative and they have to have innovative content in order for their stuff to get seen. They just don't have the production backbone of that the big brands have. So their thing is reversed. They don't need creative because they are creative. That's what they do. They're creators. So they're called creators. They make things, right? So where I see us fitting in there is that we'll probably end up having to be the creative and then the execution for like big brands who don't know how to do it because they're stuck. But then for the creators, we're going to end up being executors because they're already creative. They already know what they want to go do. Otherwise, they wouldn't be in the situation that they're in. So we will just be executing. So I think like a Mr. Beast, if he did a challenge here, it's a live stream challenge and he wants to use the whole studio space, like let him. I think that's like ideally where we're going to end up is either like creating it and executing it or executing it for somebody who's like, you know what, I got the idea. I don't have the manpower because, you know, most of my creative stuff that I've done is been with a laptop and a cell phone.
In a basement studio. Right. Yeah. And
then that's where it separates us, that we know we know the content.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and we understand that content and we consume it, so we can help advise them and make sure that the content that they're making is good stuff.
Well, it's also, and I think this is a really good. I think me and you kind of speak this language, but a live streamer that's full time who maybe starts making like $2,000 a month, they're not at this like. Your mentality has to shift, right? You have to start operating like a business and doing that. What do you think are the biggest differences between like you just said, a bedroom production, and then what is the difference when you go from that level to producing in a studio? Like, what are the key fundamental shifts that happen, right?
I think it's just at the level that you're doing it at, right? So like when I used to do, I think there's like certain levels of creators, and depending upon which ones you're talking about, they need different things. So like, if Johnny the woodcutter, you know, he cuts down trees and does a tree restoration service and he wants to be a creator, right? I think for him, where his journey begins is he needs to understand, is there a market for the stuff that he's doing and putting that out there, and are people going to watch it? I think more often than not, yes, because I've seen people who do grass mowing and I've seen people who do like weed and landscaping and other stuff, and like people eat that up. I don't know what it is about it. It must be cathartic.
Satisfying,
they eat it. Yeah, it's satisfying. So you know, you could probably go get away with a tree restoration service, and if you consistently produce enough content, you could probably get a following around it. I think for them at that point, it's all around strategy, teaching them like how to create content. Where do they put it on? Like how often do they schedule their content? Like making sure that they have like a good social media plan and that they just are producing consistently. Right. Yeah. So for them, it's mainly just like coaching. It's like, you just need some coaching level. Once you've gotten past that level, and you're consistently producing content. I mean, some people have gotten millions of followers just on their cell phones. It's like, I don't think there's a really big ask for the need for like equipment, but maybe you want to do something better, or you want to up the production quality, right? Or you think that, or you found that when you did up the production quality, that more people watched your content. Right. I think that's where you might go and need equipment, but maybe you don't need it every time. So at that point, where I kind of recommend, and this is some, like, again, a service we offer, is like renting equipment. So you're a creator, you know what you're doing, but you need a couple cool pieces of fun toys. We have the fun toys. We can help you do that. Right.
Yeah.
So maybe they just need a couple pieces of equipment here and there, but you'll kind of know at that point. If you're getting like, if I would say, and correct me if I'm wrong, because you know more about the YouTube space than I do, and I'm just espousing. But I think if you're making it between 10 to at 10, you probably need to keep working. 50 to 100,000 views a video, you could probably up the ante a little bit. You're probably making some, a little bit of money, and you may want to go and have a nicer camera. Maybe get off the cell phone.
Right.
Like maybe go and try to do things a little bit more professionally. Maybe a wireless lav, like just stuff to go and you don't have to spend a lot of money. You could probably spend a couple $1,000s, and you could increase the quality that you produce like dramatically. Right.
Right.
So very low lift. I think after that point, if you could probably live there for a really, really long time until you want to do like really big boy stuff. And by big boy stuff, I mean like you're trying to go and break the internet, doing 1 million, 2 million, 5 million, 10 million, views. Plus you have like a solid traction following. You know what you're doing, but you want to do like a big splash. That's where I think like getting a studio, having a production team, right? All starts to make sense because you now probably have the sponsors and you have the dollars to like back it. But I don't think you need to do that in reverse. Don't go out and be like, okay, well, I want to go get 1 million views. So I'm going to go buy a studio and I'm going to go get these cameras and I'm going to go do like, I don't think, and there's people that have done that and it's crashed and burned, right? They burned through their capital before they made the return back. So I think start it small, start it organically, do your A/B testing, learn what you need to learn. Like the internet is your oyster. Like there's so much content out there already of how to start small. Just follow a little bit of it, start producing content, just consistently do it. Grab some fancy equipment when you want to do something different. Right. Don't go into a hole doing it. And then you'll get to a point where you have enough sponsor dollars that you want to go and do like big content. I don't know. Did that answer your question? I feel
that actually really answered my question. Like you actually built out a very easy to follow tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 based on a very tangible growth plan that I actually agree with. You said that I know YouTube better. I disagree. I think we both know YouTube pretty well. But
I'm the Twitch live guy.
You got Twitch. Yeah. But you know enough to be dangerous, dude. You don't. People don't give themselves credit. Let me pause this right here though, because my 30-minute metering. No, I even tell people like, look, for what I produce, like this would actually be enough. I do this for extra because I need to look fancy. But
I think producing content.
But I think the days of like overly polished content are kind of dying, if we're being honest.
I think it is too. I remember talking to a friend of mine who told me that the best piece of content that they've made was a content with where a musical artist played Words with Friends. There's like Bruce Springsteen or something.
Oh yeah.
And that was their like most popular piece of content because people wanted to watch Bruce Springsteen play Words with Friends. And we've created like all this other original content, but like
that was the piece that did it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think there's a world where our generation has been fed so much crap and that we don't know what really is the truth. And so like the less produced it is, we know the more authentic it is.
Right.
And so I think our generation and younger seek authenticity over clean cutness. And so I think it's something that we'll probably see like going forward. I think it's also the reason why live streaming is becoming more popular because you can't edit it. You can't cut it. You can't like nothing gets it. But like you can't edit it, you can't cut it. Like it is what it is. Like if there was a mistake, like guess what? It happened live. Like having that communication is like super important. And I think that's what's ultimately going to change like how content is made in like 10 years. In 10 years, I don't think, I mean, if we still have cable, if we still have like I'm
we'll
surprised.
Have cable in 10 years, dude.
I think that every single communication form will have a chat. on
I
the
agree.
right hand side.
Oh yeah,
That's just gonna
I completely agree. Yeah, your grandpa
Yeah.
is going to be chatting with his nursing home with his Alexa device. It's going to be all voice, all live.
I mean, I never really thought that far, but I mean,
Dude,
damn,
I only know that
okay.
because I installed Alexa devices for Amazon for so long.
And Alexa's he's gonna chat with his
Homie,
Alexa's
you know
like,
that
how do you
I can
feel
talk.
today? What's your temperature like?
Well,
You
listen,
know?
here's a little industry insight because I've been out of Amazon long enough to talk now. So watch it, Amazon. So get this. You remember when the Echo Dots used to come out? The first voice controlled things?
Mm-hmm.
You want to know what the whole marketing plan was for those?
No.
Amazon was willing to lose billions of dollars on actually putting them in as many homes as possible for free. Like if you came into my bookstore and said, I can't afford this, I literally could find a way to give it to you because Amazon knew, and they still know, and this is 2023. I worked there in 2018, 2017. They knew that if they just put a microphone in every single fucking house, that eventually, it would all be audio, right? So now they're implanted. They're everywhere. It doesn't, like you go into a house and say Alexa, like most of the time you're going to set something off.
You gotta be careful. My Alexa's over there in the corner there.
Oh
If you say it too loud, it's gonna trigger
right,
it. It's gonna be like it's like a sleeper agent. It's just gonna start speaking in Russian and then be like, then that's gonna
have you seen I don't know if you watch the Joe Rogan podcast, but I watch it when Musk is on it. Did you see Elon Musk and Joe Rogan's most recent podcast together, like last week?
No, what was it?
Well, they came together and we're talking about the mind virus. Like Musk was like, every single platform is infected with the mind virus. And he's saying like, obviously X is the only non-mind virus thing.
Okay,
right,
Elon.
Okay, yours is the only one. Right.
Yeah,
he's a social god. But I was like, I do believe, I am kind of with him. I'm like, I'm teaching my creators now. My whole business model is predicated on just owning emails, right? Because I don't want to be, I've seen so many people's Facebooks get shut down or YouTubes get demonetized and I've worked for so many companies that started YouTube with 0 followers and they're like, why the fuck doesn't this make money? Right? Well, no shit. It's not fucking monetized when you start a new channel. So I'm trying to teach people, hey, you can monetize with 0 followers first and then build from a stream of revenue, right?
Sure. I think that's honestly, one of my friends went and got off all the platforms a while ago because he felt that they were all infected with the mind virus and that they were basically charging to have access to your own fan base. And so he got off all of them and then he went and just has a newsletter for his music label now.
Oh, no shit. Good for him.
Yeah. So that's all he does. And he has a Discord group that is a part of that. And I can't even really connect with him other than text message or Discord. So he kind of went full, dipped off the internet because of it. But I honestly believe what you're saying there is true. I think the only ownership that we truly have is an email that has ownership that's not platform. It's platform agnostic is email.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Which is kind of archaic. What do you think about
it? Now you have SMS. So I've been building, I'm building in public. So I'm completely transparent. I collect emails, phone optional, right? I don't force the SMS, but I'm going to build a text messaging service, right? So it's like, Danny, my YouTube video got 100 views. What the fuck went wrong with it? And you'll text bot me and I'll fix it, right? I don't know if you thought about it.
I have. People get kind of you can mute everything but texts. So people are very protective about texts. If you there's a very fine line with, I've even found it with Discord channels, right? There's a fine line.
I auto mute them when I get in there.
Yeah. Then that's the point. So you auto mute them, but you can't auto mute texts. So people get really protective of texts. And if you blast too many texts for them, they're like blocked, unsubscribe. Yep. I don't need a part of that. I don't need it. I mean, hell, I went to an event 5 years ago that when I was in nightlife, and those dudes still go and send me text blasts about, the Beyonce party in Atlanta. If you guys are listeners, I love you guys, but I still, I'm not going to the Beyonce party, and I'm not going to the Kanye party.
Damn, I was looking forward to it.
I've been to the parties there in the basement. They've been lit. in East Atlanta. Like they're a pretty fun
Yeah.
party. But I'm like, but I get the text messages from them because a part of their process is when you get a ticket, they get your number and then it
Right.
blasts you. And so I'm not so fond of that because now they blast me for any of their events that they have now that they have my number.
Yeah, that's super
However,
archaic.
I think there's a world where there's a balance. So like, for instance, I use an app called Partyful when I am inviting my friends to a party, because Facebook is horrible at when you invite somebody to something, it gets lost. And Facebook doesn't remind you of events. Like it's a really shitty, Facebook used to be good for events, but it's become like super shitty in terms of response. So Partyful sends people text message reminder invites because you have your account information is set up by phone. So we'll send RSVPs, it will verify you via the phone. And then also when you have updates to the party, it comes your text message. And I think for like something like an event, when you're having a gathering of people, I think that's like super good, because then you make sure that you've 100,000% someone can't say, oh, I missed your Facebook invite.
Right.
Dude, you got it on your phone. Like it's there. Like you've seen it. So you're just a horrible person if you're not on RSVP.
I love it.
Like,
dude.
But I think there's like a world where, getting back to creators, that like you post, you send them a notification saying, hey, you should watch this video, but not being like every, if you're posting every day that they get a text message, because they're just going to go nuts.
Yeah. You want to know my little spicy take here then? Because this might blow you away, because I think apps are done. I think apps are going to die. I think social media is going to die.
Really?
I'm calling it the social apocalypse. Ready? Here's my prediction for creators. I think in the future, creators, instead of apps, you're going to just text, right? Like you said, you're just going to, you have Discord. That's texting. I think you need a Discord. I think you need a hub of instant communication. Here's where I think you get rid of apps. I was talking to this guy the other day, and I was like, all right, I'm tired of signing up for these AI clipping softwares that I'm trying to use. If all I had to do was say, text a number and say, here's the clip, do your job, and I didn't have to submit an email, I would pay you an absurd amount of stupid money to just text you for an output, right? So here's my prediction. I think you're going to get really native texting applications where ChatGPT or whatever GPT at the point where you're at, you're just texting. It's not a one way, let me sell you some shit. It's more of an actual, it's your friend texting you, like you said, but baked in is your calendar, your reminders.
So it's like going to be AI bots that like live within Discord and
absolutely. But those will be the apps. I don't think you're going to have like, there's no reason I think in the future to have like, dude, if I need money, you're just going to text your banking app and say, yo, like withdraw, move this to this, and then biometric it. Same for content. Hey, it's going to be like a point, man. Like here's my, again, hot take. YouTube is going to be, you're going to text YouTube. Here it is, 20 years out. I'm making a video. Hey guys, thanks for watching me and Cody. And then I text YouTube's number, make this 2-hour podcast into a 10-minute video, blah, blah, blah. And YouTube will text me back and be like, cool, your video's processing. That's what's going to happen.
I think 20 years in the future, that's a world where we'll live in. I feel like I agree with you that social media I think is going to die. I think everybody was about 20 years ago was all about connecting everyone. Yeah. And now everybody is connecting maxed out. So like everyone was about macro communities. Like how big of a community can we get of the world? And then we realized we didn't actually want to talk to everybody. We don't want to know about the guy that we went on a cruise with back in middle school. Right. That we've never talked to. We don't want to be connected to that person. So where I see the world is that like where we went macro, now we're going back to micro. Everybody wants to have their own little community. They go talk some stuff with, and then it served its purpose at the time. And then when it's good, it's good. And when it's not, it's not.
Exactly.
And like micro communities are going to be the thing. And we're going to watch, and we're going to get away from that. And I feel maybe AI is probably going to help out with that there's just going to be a bunch of bots.
They'll be your managers. Yeah, they'll just be your managers.
Just live inside Discord, and you go and you chat them, you say, edit this thing. And they go, okay. kind of like the movie Her, where everyone have this automated AIs that do everything, assistant. You just have an AI that goes and does all that stuff, and then you just message and connect to the people you want to connect to. And when the connections die off, the connections die off. I think.
Yeah, well, yeah,
I agree,
dude. Yeah, and what I want to do is I want to ask you, because I just ranted for a while. So I got a question for you then, because I gave a spicy take. Let's talk about micro communities, right? Because I completely agree with you. I think one day Odd Man Out is going to have 1,000 fans, right? And everything will be fine, right? Financials will be good, right?
Sure.
Why? So like, I don't want to explain it, so I'm going to let you explain it. Like, why don't you talk to our listeners a little bit about like that thesis, right? Why is this something that people are just now, like me and you are talking about micro communities? Why do you think why do you think that change is occurring? I think I have my own.
It's the platform's fault. I blame all the platforms. I blame every single one of them, because they basically, it's so funny, because I think the reason why Web3 is being created is because Web 2 tried so hard to differentiate itself from what was before, that through the process of trying to make themselves so much like consumable by the masses, they overdid it. So what I mean by that is that when you look at Facebook, right? Facebook was supposed to be the thing that you connects everyone and everything like together, right? Oh, man, I forgot my question again.
You're good.
What was the question?
So why are we shifting from these macro communities to micro?
Yeah.
Yep.
So when you had Facebook and you had all of these other social medias, the whole thing was you wanted to be connected with as many people as humanly possible. It was all about follower counts, right? Like, be attracted to as many people, be connected to as many people as possible, because that would build your influence.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
What then the platforms realized is wait a second, we could pay for this, or we can make people pay for this. Right? They have influence, but they only have influence because they're using their platform, our infrastructure, because we can get their voice out there. Well, all these platforms were free, and that was how they convinced everybody to get on them at the time, because that was the newest idea that was ever baked. They were like, oh my God, you can get on this social media thing for free and talk to all of your friends. And everyone's like, yeah. And then everyone realized that, oh no, A, they're selling your data, because not anything is truly free in this world.
Right.
And then B, what platforms quickly realized is that not everybody is comfortable with selling their data. So they didn't really have good models. Like their models were built off of VC back funding that said you should get as big as you humanly possibly can so we can sell, or we can get like more funding. Profitability never got realized across any of it, right? So all the social medias operated this way. The streaming companies operated this way. Everyone operated this way in terms of like the new world, Web 2.0, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
That's how all of them behave.
So big, right? So like, just to summarize, Web 2 was just get as big as you can, no matter what.
Get as big as you can. Many subscribers, as many followers, as many users on your platform. And then at some point, so like 2010, maybe I don't even say 2010, that's too early. Probably 2015 happened. And then someone at Facebook realized and said, they raised their hand and said, aren't we supposed to make money? And then someone was like, yeah, you know what? Like, we're supposed to go and make money at this thing. We're not just supposed to get all the followers. Or they said, well, we get all the followers now, we could charge them for it. And then because they're already so entrenched in, they're not going to care. They don't give a shit. So that started the process of like them saying, well, hey, now you have this platform and you have 100,000 followers, but I'm only going to give you access to maybe like 5,000 of them unless you spend money with us to penetrate your own follower group. And I think ultimately this is the same problem that Netflix and stuff like that are having right now too. They did these like stupid, crazy, like low barrier to entries to get everybody involved. And then now they're realizing that none of the models are profitable and that they're leveraging the fact that they're so big that they can just raise the prices and not people aren't going to be price sensitive, so entrenched in. So what happened with the creators is that they're like, wait a second, like you went and you promised us all this free stuff. Like you promised us that I could go and build my follower count and I could communicate to all of them, but now I have to pay for it. And even when I pay for it, I can't even access all of my followers. And like, yeah, because we're Facebook and everybody uses us now, so get over it. And so now what you're seeing is the flip side of everyone saying, well, I don't need all that. Right. If I have 100,000 followers, and also everyone's also realizing is that followers aren't the end all be all. You can have 100,000 followers, but the 100,000 followers aren't buying your t-shirts. Maybe 1,000 of them are, right? You have like a core group that like love your content and will do anything for it. The super fans, right? And so what really it's about is like making sure that your content can be seen, but like supporting your super fans. Right. And everyone's kind of realizing this all at the same time. And they don't have the big marketing budgets. They can't spend thousands of dollars just to reach those hundreds of thousands of people. They could go and spend, it's like, what is it? 20% of the work that you do produces 80% of the results that you get.
Yeah,
everyone's realizing this now. Yeah. So now they're like, all right, well, I don't need any of these macro communities. I just need, if I can get 1,000 people and the super fans that can go and they're paying stupid amounts of money that support my stuff. That's all I need. And you don't need a lot of infrastructure for that. You do that off a WhatsApp group, right?
Yeah.
Them just
Discord's
like chatting.
Free. Discord's 1,000% free for that. Yeah.
So like, there's opportunities now where people can create these micro communities or these email newsletters to have conversations with people that ultimately will provide more value to them than them trying to spend money to reach all of their 100,000 followers. Right. And so I blame the platforms and I blame Web 2 for like the enticing shit that they had to do and the VCs to build these models to force everybody to go back to micro communities because everyone found out we don't need to be connected.
Right.
With everybody.
Mo money, mo problems.
Yeah. We don't need to be connected to everyone. So now we're back to micro communities where we were before 2000 when you just were with your friend group in middle school and those were your homies. We're like back there. It's just a little bit wider now because we have the internet.
Dude, that's funny. That's
sorry. I soapbox on this hard because I get passionate.
No, Cody, that's why I was about to ask you, like, where the fuck's your newsletter? Because I feel like we could just clip that, transcribe it, and put that shit out once a week. You got to do a newsletter.
Start my own podcast. Cody's Rants.
Dude. We'll do it. Cody's Rants. No, dude, I'm completely with you. It makes me like the parallel that I draw is I read a lot of American history. I don't know why, U.S. history, because I hated it in high school. But now I'm like, well, I'm running a business in the U.S. Let's see how fucked it is. I learned that when the founding fathers, we broke away from Britain, and all the founding fathers, they were like, hey, yo, no matter what you do, keep to your fucking selves. Like, don't go out and try to govern everybody. Don't go out and tax people. The British did it. Look at what happened to the king. George Washington was like, yo, fucking just build your shit. We got tobacco farms. We got, and now I feel like, 200 years later, we're like, oh shit, we should have fucking listened, Because even our world government, right? I don't want to get political, but even like at the highest level, all these countries now are just kind of doing their own thing, right? Even on a global scale, I feel like a lot of countries are starting to recede much, much more than these like previous 50 years.
Well, I think it's I don't want to blame Web 2 on this.
Web 2, God damn it, again.
I want to blame Web 2 on this, but I think that, we're seeing a weird point where globalization led to nationalization. That, like, we globalized so hard that now we've globalized so hard, everyone, that we're now dependent upon everyone in the world for like the things and the services and like the level of the standard of life that we live. That everybody is uncomfortable with the reliance on everyone for everything. Yep. And so we're now seeing a nationalization happen that everyone's like, I don't want my cell phone to be made in Taiwan, right? I want it to be made in the US of A. Like, or we're reliant on foreign oil, or that we're, that our semiconductors only come out of the Far East, right?
Even our basic grain and fertilizer comes out of like Ukraine,
Yeah.
right? Like that's
And
the
that's
breadbasket of the world, and it's every
Yeah.
country. Yep.
happening with everyone. It's not just us, you know. I remember when I went to Iceland, and Iceland says, well, we import everything, right? And so everyone's kind of realizing that all at the same time. So there's a lot of nationalistic efforts that are happening from just overconnectedness, because we are so connected. I can get on a flight right now and I could be in Japan in 18 hours when it took people
months,
6 months to get across the ocean.
Yeah, dude. And you might not make it. There was no guarantee.
Yeah, you might not make it. 6 months across the ocean, right? Half of your stuff probably spoiled in the process. Maybe you got hit by a storm. You like lost that shit. You know, you sent a message, a note to somebody, you know, my dearest Karen, what fortnight has it been since I've seen you last, you know, and then maybe they got that in like 3 months. Now I can go and DM my buddy in Hong Kong or my engineer in Japan that I know, and like he gets it instantly. It's the internet. So now we're so overly globalized that I think it's like we got so overexposed to all of it that it's all coming back full circle. It's the same thing that it's so funny to me about like streaming companies and like cable companies, right? It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to push so hard into the newest thing that then the oldest thing comes back around because everyone was exposed to that thing for so much.
Dude, you're
I don't know.
No, that was a fucking mic drop. Boom. What was that? A paracord bracelet? No, don't drop your mic.
It's a paracord bracelet.
You're always prepared,
I do have some survivalist in me.
I don't have my paracord on, but let me pause this segment. No, man, I got a Google Watch like an idiot. So like when we get EMP'd, I'm just fucked. But it's fine.
I got a Garmin. I got a Garmin watch. So
I'm not sponsored, but I needed something to literally tell me like, dude, you're freaking out. I've been logging my mood, and it's been helping me out.
Oh
it
my
does.
God.
When my heart rate goes up, it's gone up a few times. Like it vibrates, and it's like, hey man, you okay? And I have to say I'm okay. You know, it's wild. Google has all my data. Crazy, dude. I'm never going to die. I've just told my fiance, I'm like, bro, we might be the generation that actually doesn't die until we choose to, which is a scary thought.
I don't know. I mean, that's an interesting idea there. I don't, it's like the Centennial Man, Bicentennial Man.
Yeah.
You ever watched that Robin Williams? I mean, I've thought about that. When will be the line? Like, at what point will we have so much control over our life we can decide when it ends?
Soon.
I don't know.
Yeah. Do you think you spend a lot of time? So, like, you're a business owner, Cody. I got to ask you, because I'm selfish and I'm trying to start a business. How much time are you allowed to ask yourself questions like that have nothing to do with your business, or do you not even fuck with it because you're just too busy?
My truthful answer is I don't have time for it, but my truthful answer is that, but truthfully that shouldn't be my answer.
Right. Do you wish you spent more time thinking about stuff like that? Maybe is the question I should be asking.
Honestly, I think, personally, I don't have a good balance of my business yet.
Okay.
I think that as a founder and as a business owner, especially in the beginning, you're going to eat a lot of shit, and you're going to have to work a lot of hours, and you're going to have to work a lot of hours than most people, and most people think you're crazy, and you have to make a lot of sacrifices to like make sure that like your business prospers and does well for it to help out others. But I think that long term, it's not sustainable. I think that a lot of founders lead to burnout because of this, because they put so much on their shoulders. I think that I've led to burnout sometimes. Beyond that, I think it's something that we face as business owners, is that you got to find tools and you got to find balance. You can't just keep thinking about your business all the time, or it'll fucking kill you. And so you gotta. I wish I spent more time thinking about it. I think that's the one thing I appreciate about my girlfriend, is that she keeps me grounded, and that like she forces me even if I have like internal guilt that I'm not working on something, that like I'm spending time with her that's not associated with the business. And I wish I spent more time doing that than spending on, as much as I love all my guys here, spending on the business. But I think I'm getting there soon. I think personally I have a really good plan now. And I think, I've written a lot of our goals for the next 1, 2, 5, 10 years. So I think if you have that and you look at those goals weekly and you know where you're trying to head and you're working toward those goals, and you can build a team around you that can help support you, and they understand the vision and they're willing to put a little bit of elbow grease in too, you'll find the balance that you look for.
Dude, that's well, thank you. No. I love when we get deep because I think like I listen to a lot of podcasts, and something that I the reason why I picked long form is because I'm a firm believer of it. It takes me about half an hour, maybe 20 minutes for some people, for me to like build trust first. I think like podcasts require some trust, like, but me and you had a pre-existing relationship. So I spend like the first 20 minutes, 30 minutes, breaking people down in a good way. But you get to these points where you're like, hey, I've already broken down your muscle. Like you're not guarded anymore. So now you're just like sharing, which I appreciate. So thank you for sharing that, because I don't meet a lot of founders. When you look on like LinkedIn, I don't meet a lot of founders who talk about that. Like I've never seen a founder post like, man, my girlfriend, I'm so glad my girlfriend is forcing me to not work. I think somebody like me needs that. Right. And I agree.
You just got to follow the right people. It sounds like you got to unfollow, and you got to you got to reset. One of my business coaches told me you got to reset your LinkedIn. And you'll find them.
Okay, so I got to go in and have you done a reset?
You don't reset LinkedIn? It. By reset your LinkedIn, I mean like you need to look at the people that are on your feed, and you need to figure out which of those people that are actually like that are. You need to reset your LinkedIn in a way. You need to look at your followers and look at the people that are on your news feed, and you need to figure out, are they people that bring you value, right? Or are they people that are off touch with what you need? And you need to like 5 a day. Unfollow the people that aren't bringing the value that you need to bring, or aren't in your target market, right? If they're not in their target market or they're not bringing you value, you got to like back out, and then you got to go in the ones that are bringing you value, you lean in a little bit more, and usually they have recommendations of other people, or you can see things that they've engaged on that then you can start following those people and start resetting your profile to find those. Because I bet I'm not as much as I'm being transparent about it, and I appreciate the compliment, there's other people that talk about this type of stuff. And they like my favorite that I stumbled upon was the guy from ConvertKit. You probably know.
I've seen his posts for sure.
Yeah. So ConvertKit, that guy, he puts out a lot of stuff about how he's like built his business, or how like he solved community problems in his business, and how he like built it and the struggles that he's faced. And usually through that, if you find that guy, you can find other people who like are similar.
Right. Yeah.
You start surrounding yourself with those types, like, and I guess that's one thing that I appreciate is I'm a part of a coaching program that I'm with a bunch of other business owners that are very much in creative agencies that are struggling like I am.
Yeah.
So I hear a lot of these things weekly and the problems that they're facing, and we all kind of try to face them together. And I think that's been really powerful for my mindset, that like I'm not just alone out there in my feelings, that I'm not just, that being a founder, it's tough, man. It's isolating.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I know. I think because you're like the second person or third or fourth, you're like, oh yeah, as a founder. I'm like, bro, I didn't want to be a founder. I still like am getting around like calling myself I'm trying not to be a content creator, right?
You'll find out soon enough. It's isolating, man.
It is. No, I felt it, like I feel it, like I'm definitely, I think content creators do get that, because I think I was a content creator, right? So like you do get isolated because you're editing your VODs and you're networking. So
yeah,
I definitely empathize, but you're creating, right?
Yeah, you're creating, but you're you're just talking to your community at the end of the day, and then you can't really relate with the people around you because people say, "What do you do?" Well, I make content. They're like, "Well,
What
I
the fuck
work in
does that
accounting."
mean? Yeah,
Yeah,
I have to
I work a
punch in.
finance job,
Yeah,
right?
when I got
I had a
fired,
kid.
it was like, oh man, I'm sorry you got laid off. What did you file for unemployment or did you get a new job yet? And I was like, neither. I haven't done either because I'm a business owner. Like I knew I had to make that shift, even though I'm sure there's resources, but something in my head was like, no, I'm employed. I'm employed to this company, right? My studio is kind of how I've been
What I
just
am.
approaching it, right?
That's what we all are. Like, I think you have to look at it that mindset. If you don't, you'll be playing at it, and that's worse. Right?
Can you dig into that? Like, what do you mean by play? I know what you're talking about. What do you mean by playing at it? Like, are there people that
I mean, Gary Vee kind of sensationalized the idea of the hustle and grind culture, the side hustle, the fake it till you become it. So everybody's got a drop shipping hustle, or everyone's got some YouTube channel, or everyone's got, a DJ hustle, or everyone's got I know because I was a DJ. I was doing DJ
last year,
right?
everybody was a CEO founder.
Everyone was a CEO founder, right? But then you start looking at the stats of everything, and then it's like 99% of businesses or 90% of businesses fail after like 5 years, and then you start actually looking at it. I think one of my CMO I just brought on, he gave me this stat. He's like, 95% of businesses will never reach $1 million in revenue.
Ever. Like lifetime revenue.
Ever. Yeah.
Wow.
They'll never reach $1 million a year. Like they won't make it. They just don't. So if you get to like a business that makes $1 million a year, right? You have surpassed like how many hundreds of millions of small businesses that are.
Oh, I don't even want to know the
US,
stat. Yeah, I mean,
right?
LegalZoom alone probably has 1 million.
When you combine that with 95% of businesses fail within 5 years, and you start really looking at that, like
you might as well play the lottery. You're better off literally buying a lottery ticket.
Well, I don't know about that.
No, I'm just fucking with
you. Most people are faking it.
Yeah.
Right? They're saying they're CEO founder, but they're not actually putting in the work to build a sustainable business. It's like the book. I don't know if you ever read that book, like The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck.
Yes. Yeah, I love that book. Read it 4 or 5 times.
The idea of being a CEO founder, but not actually what it takes.
They don't want the work. They don't want
the work.
Yeah.
They want, that's why people love to go and announce. And that's also why I don't be on social media anymore. People love to announce shit.
That
but it
doesn't matter.
Mean anything. Like
yeah.
I created a business and I used to be that guy. I post about it. I made a business and then people are like, you could pay $100. I could pay another $100. I can make 18 LLCs right now. Doesn't mean anything. But like, for me, the big moment was that I built a business that I could actually pay myself money.
Yeah.
Like that to me was like the big factor for me. I was like, wow, I can actually go and tell people I'm a business owner because I'm making money at my business and people are paying me for services. Like how fucking cool is that?
Right.
Like
right.
that to me was like that's why I don't talk about it anymore, because you get this like dopamine rush of like things that you announce.
Yeah.
It doesn't actually mean anything.
It's a fake dopamine rush. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's like, it's really easy to fall into the trap of playing at the game where like, hey, I'm doing this thing. It's another thing to like know that like, if I have to make this thing work or I can't pay rent.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I gotta like, and then bask in the glory of like figuring out that problem, like that you've made enough money
to pay your rent. That's where I'm at, dude. Holy shit!
And you can like live life, and you can like do the thing, and then now you're winning. Now you're doing the game. Like that's what it's about. But no one wants to do that because that means I got to learn how to. Sales,
dude, you're 1,000. You got to learn everything. You're running a business.
Logistics.
Yeah,
I got to figure out legal. I got to do contracts and shit.
Yeah, I was at a bank today. I had to dress up and wear a button down to go to a bank today, dude. It was crazy, and my mom couldn't schedule the appointment. What the fuck?
Yeah,
No, you know what though? Do you mind if I just ask you, like, dig into this a little bit then? Playing
Sure.
at, because I think this is like something that a lot of people will struggle with, because I feel like I completely resonated with what you just said. Like 100%. I know now that I'm playing in the game because I literally just I was up at 5:30 this morning doing all that shit to go and drive around to get to this podcast.
Yeah.
Um, and it's just to pay the bills, right? I'm like, fuck yeah. Like, I got this bill is coming up on the 10th, but I feel like it would be easy for somebody to like look at my LinkedIn and say, yo, like this kid's playing at business. No, right? Because I do have to post a lot, right? It's all social media.
It's all facades. Like,
so it's just like play your game the way you want to play it. It's basically what you would say.
You're gonna be your world's best own hype man.
Yeah.
And you should. If you're not, what are you doing? You know, so everyone's going to hype themselves up of they're the CEO founder of everything. And you got to kind of, you can feel out pretty quick who like the real people are and who the people who are still trying to like work it. I mean, I'll be transparent as shit with you. I had before this business, I had a music festival business and a DJ business, and I didn't make any money at either. Yeah. I lost money. I lost crazy amounts of money, and I was at a full-time job while like trying to do those things.
Oh,
and
dude,
I never made any money. And I was a CEO founder of a music festival, right? I mean, we did the thing. I threw music festivals. Doesn't mean it was a successful business. We lost money, and that's why I shut down the business because I wasn't making it work, and I couldn't figure out the equation. It never worked out. So it's like,
but that's like, dude, that's really interesting, because that's like a commonality that I found in people that are still founders that are still doing it. Right? You just said like you were a music festival founder, and now you have this other company.
Yeah.
But I feel like the learnings, right? Like you kind of had to pay in sweat equity and your own equity to learn the lessons of running that business. And you wouldn't be kind of where you're at. Do you think you would be where you're at without having learned those lessons? Or maybe yes, I don't know. You're good.
I think, can you ask the question again?
Yeah. So, if you hadn't failed in your first venture, do you think you would be where you were at now?
It's a tough question. I think my failures like led me to a business that I enjoy. Because what was so funny is, I mean, I went to Duke as like grad school. Mm-hmm. And I was like talking to the entrepreneurship and initiative groups, and I was telling them about my different ideas of the things I was like building. And I told people I was doing this like live streaming broadcasting thing. And then I tell people about the music festivals. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to make money at the music festivals. Like, I just don't think I'm going to. And I think broadcasting probably is going to be the thing that makes money. And every single person that I talked to at that time from Duke was like, the broadcasting thing isn't going to make any money. You're going to make your money at music festivals and doing that stuff, because to them, that was like the cool thing. Yeah. Like, they didn't know the financials. They didn't understand. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I see your points. But then, I realized, what opinion do they have? Right. So what I guess I'm leading with that is that you need the failures sometimes to figure out what you're good at, and then to get you where you're ultimately like you're going to go. But there are parts of me and if I hadn't have done what I did in terms of music, I wouldn't have made the connections that I've made to like get into broadcasting. Yeah. However, I sometimes feel that like my music, my time in music was like a wasted one. And I wish that I would have learned that stuff sooner, because I would be like so much farther ahead now if I would have just like condensed that like 5 years or 6 years I was doing that down to like 1 year, like instead. Because I thought in my brain, I was like, everyone else can't make it in music, but like I can, because I got a master's in management and I understand business, and I can bring like a professional flair to music. And you can't. Well, I don't say you can't, but like just having that professional flair, not at the local level, isn't going to get you anywhere. It's $50 in a bar tab. Like, let's be real. So you're just not gonna,
Yeah.
you're just not gonna make the money. So I needed that lesson to teach me on how to build a better business and a more sustainable business and a business that I enjoyed. So through my failures, I found my success, but I definitely I look at like my time in music and I'm like, man, if I would have just like leaned into the broadcast stuff, just maybe more instead of like I don't know.
Maybe you'd be asking yourself more philosophical questions, or having some more cookouts or something. But
I would have.
I blame being like a high performer on that. I think like everybody would be like, oh, well, if I knew this, obviously I'd want to be faster, especially with somebody with your personality type.
Gary Vee would tell me to be patient, right?
That, yeah, but fuck that guy. I love Gary Vee, but
I mean, when you look at like your life and I look at like my 20s are very much like trying to figure it out. And now my 30s are like, I figured it out and I know my direction and I want to go like do the thing.
Yeah.
I felt like I should have been there like when I was 25, that I found that out and I did the thing. And then I would be at this point, I'd be, way better along going and saying, hey, like I want to go buy a house and have kids and that. And I feel like now I'm just like cracking my knuckles being like, okay, like I'm now going to do this. And I don't have any of that stuff like figured out. And so there is like the life thing where you go and you watch people having kids and buying houses and stuff. And I'm still just trying to figure out like how to pay rent and how to like, make sure that, that I have a sustainable business that can like then get me there. But, the Steve Harveys and the others of the world is like, you just got to be patient at it. You're going to have to grind for it. It's going to probably take me longer to get there, but in the long haul, hopefully in the long haul, it will be more rewarding because I spend all that. So I don't know, man. I get torn about it. You get me in my feelings.
I'm sorry, dude. Do you want me to stop asking personally? You want to talk about something different?
No, man.
You talked about, you were like, man, I wish I got to talk about, you were like, I never think about my feelings.
Maybe
I'm like,
helps someone else.
You have this, it's going to help. It's helping me. So at least it's helping somebody. I think that, I think you touched on something that's really important that I'm just trying to pick up patterns, right? Like I never set out to be a founder. So now I'm just trying to find as many like little cheat codes that I can by talking to people like you. So you touched on something that I think I want to dig into that's not feelings based, but more of like something that I've been personally dealing with is going with my gut versus going with what I've been advised to do. Right. And you mentioned it in that story where you said, I asked all of my Duke guys what I should do, and all of them gave you the wrong advice. And literally that hit me right in the heart, because 6 months ago I was trying to do this and everybody told me, be the fucking podcast guy. And I got where they were coming from because I could monetize like a podcast business. You were there with me. I probably pitched you the fucking service. But I realized that long term, I want to build a 50-year company that like I want my kids to work at. So I knew like the podcast thing would suck. So when you said like, who the fuck do you listen to? You almost touched on it. Like, do you have any insights on, I know that's a tough question, but like, when do you listen to that gut versus how do you listen to your gut versus outside now? Maybe it might not be the right answer, but like, how do you handle it now? I'm sure.
You got to know who you can trust on it. And I think it's really much knowing how they make decisions or like guide their lives. And I know this is like such an ethereal way to answer that question.
No, it's fine.
Like I followed the Duke people because I didn't really have any other mentors, and I didn't have anybody that could just go up and say, hey, can you like mentor me in how to like build a business? And the only other people I could talk to were my parents, because my parents are business owners. But like my parents built a business of employees of like up to 8 people. So like they're good with knowing how to sustain a business, but where they struggled with is scaling that business. And so I can't really go for them for like scaling help, because they never really got there. Right. finding mentors is tough. I think it's ultimately who do you listen to? I think you got to listen to your gut, man. Your gut's going to tell you a lot, whether you're heading in the right direction or not. And even if your gut is wrong, it's a good learning lesson, right? Like when I was my gut, I go back to like, I was passionate about music. I loved music. I loved DJing. I loved going and being out at night. And then I thought I was never gonna, I saw that like people stopped going out to the clubs when they were 30. And I'm like, that's not gonna be me. I'm not gonna be that guy. I love dance music. I listen to dance music. I was listening to dance music all the way up to this conversation. Right. Like I love it. I have CDJs right behind me where we go and we play them and I won't get rid of them. Right. And so my gut told me I was going to be a DJ. I'm going to go produce this music. I'm going to go travel the world and be, and I'm going to have this music festival and we're going to put all of our time into that. And that's how I'm going to make money. And then, I got some confirmation bias for some people I asked. I said, you should just focus on the festival. But boy, is that a cutthroat, crazy business that's, will gut you and just leave you out to bleed. And I didn't know that going in and I was doing broadcasting at the same time because I was passionate about that. I kind of fell into it and it worked out. But the people that I have found who've been the most impactful to my mindset and my business have been mindset coaches and then friends that I may not have like asked them to be a mentor, but I found out like just through talking to them that they are like, I'll use my best example is like the CMO, the guy who I've hired as like my actual CMO. Like he asked me a question because we were in an intensive last week. He said, Cody, like, and this is probably the first time that I've done this. He was like, Cody, like when you hired me, you didn't ask me for references. You didn't ask me for like previous work. You didn't ask me for any of that stuff. We just like went on the project. Like, how did you know I was the fit? And I was like, I just knew. Like this guy joined the future. It was a creative group of business owners who were trying to figure out their businesses. He lived in Atlanta. I met this dude for lunch. I talked to him about business problems. And then when he just opened his mouth and he just started talking, I knew he knew what he was talking about and that like his visions aligned with my own. And I'm like, this is the guy I need to go and work with because this dude just like gets it, right? He gets it. He knows where I'm coming from. And so like, I can work with this and I can like work with this person. So like everything else like became irrelevant and I wasn't even looking at him. It's like, it wasn't like I was going out to lunch to interview him to go do this. It was just like, he's a brand manager. I potentially needed somebody for that, but I just wanted to go have lunch with this guy and just figure it out. And then through the conversation, I knew I was like, I want to work with this guy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then like with my business coach, with him, I knew I needed help. And I reached out to him and it's Matt Essam. And I love Matt. He's a good coach. He started asking me questions and he started questioning the mindset and the way in which I did things and challenged my like assumptions and beliefs about business. And when I would react or respond, he would challenge my reactions or respond. And I had never had anybody up to that point like do that for me. And so I knew for that, like, it's probably going to be a good fit that like, I didn't think that mindset was going to be one of my biggest problems as a founder, but I have learned throughout this year that it is. Yeah. So like aligning my team to like working on mindset and like knowing that there's people around that like, that are decision that like when they talk to you and it resonates with your gut,
Yeah.
That's it. It's really all it is. Your gut will tell you like whether or not like you're aligned with like your core beliefs. And if it's not aligned with your core beliefs, you're so like in the situation that the other people are telling you, you should be the podcast guy. Did you really want to be the podcast guy?
No, dude, I knew that would be a grind. Like I could churn out probably like $100,000 a year, but I didn't want to churn out $100,000 a year for something that I didn't believe in.
Then there you go.
Yeah. I wasted a lot of time, but I learned a lot. Right. So yeah, I think it's like,
there you go. So it's like, you'll as you grow in business and as you're a founder, you'll start realizing and figuring out the people you want to hang out more with, who like are on the same wavelength that you are, and that like will probably provide more insightful insight than just others, because
Right.
others are they don't know. They're just gonna look at what the cool thing is.
Right. Exactly
Right.
what
And
my
then they're
mom
just
said,
gonna,
man. Yeah, I got
yeah.
fired. I was like, what do I do? She's like, I don't fucking know, dude. You're an adult. Why are you asking me? Well, like, you're the
So it's,
professional. Do you need a degree? I don't even know what you do. You work in Fortnite or some shit.
but then that's where you like, you
Yeah.
gotta, you build your team, you find the people that you believe in, and that the people that are on the same wavelength as you, and you'll start to build it. At first it's going to be really lonely, but you just got to trust yourself and knowing that you yourself has what you want. Like,
Right.
what did I want? Like at the end of the day, like we're gonna get deep again, but like at the end of the day, I wanted like a sustainable business, like doing things with with my friends, doing cool shit with my friends.
Yeah.
And that like I wanted to build a legacy company that I could involve other people that I enjoy working with in a community, and we're somehow all making money off of our like knowledge and expertise.
Yeah.
Right. At the time it was like music festivals. I thought that was it, and it wasn't it. And then I was like, and then I rebuilt it again with my knowledge that I knew from festivals, and I built it in content, and I knew what I was looking for, because the last team that I built, I knew where my pitfalls were with that team. And then I was like, now I'm surrounding myself. So now the people that I have on my team, like I always joke about this, like my team always constantly gives me shit. They always talk shit. They always are talking shit about my ideas. They're always like throwing me, like, I don't say throw me under the bus, but they're always like I would say something and they're like, Cody, you're stupid. And I want that, because like, I know then that their perspective on things is probably going to be better than my own, but it takes time to build that. And it's just a journey of founding. But like, don't get caught up in the guys who are like the ethereal business gurus or coaches or the you know, even I got caught up in it with my Duke mentors. I thought, they said the algorithm said I was a 98% match with this dude. And this dude said to my face, he's like, you'll never make it in broadcast. You won't make it as a big business. And I was like,
jeez, dude,
like,
that's brutal.
screw you, dude. Like,
right. Good for you. Yeah. Give you a chip on your shoulder.
He said that. He's like, I'm not gonna mentor you. No, I mean, good luck, best of luck with your business. And that was kind of my thing. And that was like where I realized, I was like, okay, so it's not the algorithms. It's not about the prestige of the university, right? That makes these. It's like you will find these people. They'll be at different education levels. They will be at different walks of life. But like, you'll know when you meet them and then you talk to them, like, these are the people that I should talk to, because they actually know the shit, versus the other people who just like espouse about it.
We're good.
I just want to make sure I'm on point. I want to make sure you're hitting your points.
Bro, I don't have any points to hit. That's called an agenda, and that's the reason why we're in this shithole of a creator economy 1.0 we're in. Fuck that. I'm building this.
Okay.
Yeah, dude, I'm brutal. I'm brutal too. I just like, I'm giving you your time because I get to talk all the time. No, I just have so much to fucking learn, right? Like I think the reason why I keep giving like positive reasons why podcasts are so beneficial, especially for somebody who's just figuring it out, right? Like I don't think there's anything wrong with somebody saying, yo, I don't know what the fuck I want to do. Grab your phone, get a buddy and a camera, and just record everything. And with ChatGPT, dude, it's so easy to produce stuff and be like, okay, that didn't work, I don't like it, or with no money.
Honestly, I think podcasting is the best way to professionally build your network beyond warm leads. And the reason why I say that is because everyone likes to talk about themselves. And so everybody, if you're going to give them 15 minutes of fame or airtime, they'll take it. So you can get connected with people that you never thought you could get connected with. And then also on your mentor journey, you will find the people that you resonate the most with. Just podcasting, you're going to be like, these are the people I fuck with. And then you're going to be also with other people like, these are the people that I'm like,
yeah, you had a good interview, and
it's big good interview, and I'll see you. I'll see you around. So it's for founders. I think like having a podcast is the world's best cheat code for B2B conversations, like ever. Like I was recommending doing that for fuel quality services for my parents' business. I was like, we need to be doing that with fuel professionals. Why? Because you're just going to get connected to people. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're just going to get connected. Like that's it. And you're, one of my mentors has said, your net worth is your network is your net worth. And I believe that, like 100%.
Damn. That's a really good quote.
Yep.
Damn. Your network is your net worth.
100%.
Damn,
that's
dude.
How I've gotten all the gigs that I've gotten. And that's how I've gotten the business where I've gotten is just through that, man. And I think
and go ahead. No, I think you're right. Like I was telling you before we started, I originally invited you to be on Captain Content's podcast, and I was like, oh, I didn't realize I got all the value I needed out of it. And now that project can just be like, it's ready. It's just being published. And now this is a new venture for me. Right.
Yeah.
And it's doing exactly what you said. So if you're listening to the podcast, Cody did not pay me to back his opinion. I can just tell you that I'm literally starting a company because I listen to what you guys tell me and I just do it. Right. Like it makes sense. And I think that what really resonates with me is how much of those skills of being a founder transfer to being a content creator. Because when you run a YouTube channel, it's the same thing as running a business, right?
It is a business.
Exactly.
It's just a content business.
Right, which you're really good at. So like, do you have – this is going to be like our last official question, and then I'm going to start wrapping with your episode with some other curveballs because I know you love them.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, oh, dude, it's fine. You're going to pass with flying colors, I'm sure. What – I want to give you a really good soapbox moment.
Oh shit! I've already had enough of these, but
I know, but that's good, dude. Yeah. Do you know how much value? Do you know how much money you could make from each of these? No, just kidding. They're valuable though, because like I think, Cody, like between me and I told you this before, I'm like, man, like who do I follow? Like if you just took clips from this and posted these on LinkedIn, I think you could help a lot of people, right? So like that's why I'm just gonna cut them and give them to you. Like fuck it, like that's what I've been doing because that's my skill set. I can just cut shit fast and get it out. So my question for you, Cody, is with the knowledge that you have in live streaming and broadcast, what are some actionable tips that a live streamer, so think about a Twitch streamer, Kick streamer,
sure,
who maybe is streaming 10 hours a week and having no results. Okay. So like they're streaming, but it's to the same three friends from high school. What can they do today to start treating that less like a hobby and more like a business from your perspective? They're willing to do anything you say, so don't feel like you have to go super granular. You could just say, "Hey, stop streaming 10 hours, dumbass." Is a good start, but
I think it's tough. It's tough because Twitch's algorithm kind of changes in how you're discovered. And so there's some people that have streamed for years and they've been stuck at 3. And then there's others that go from 3 to 100,000. And it's really tough to see kind of what causes that. But what I can tell you is if there are like 3 things that I would do is that the amount of time you're streaming is probably okay. You could probably maybe do even a little bit less and get away with it. You just need to be consistent with your content. If you're going to do Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays, or you're going to do only Wednesdays, whatever it is, you just got to set with it. I would make sure that you are consistent and do it even when you don't, and keep doing it beyond when you think that it's not going to work out. I mean, I can't tell you if, maybe if I kept the music festival going and I did it for 3 more years, maybe that would have been the time that like it just, exploded. And then, I'm like this music festival organizer, but at the end of the day, it wasn't really what I really wanted. But I would look at consistency. I would look at finding like what communities you can be a part of that are like bigger than yours. Is it like, so in Atlanta, you have like Stream Atlanta, which is like all the Twitch all the Twitch streamers. You should
Yeah,
probably
I've
be a
been there
part of that
before.
community.
Yeah, it's a cool community.
You
I
should
was there when I
probably
first
be a
got
part
to
of that.
Atlanta. Yeah.
Right? Like you need to go and find your local communities that you can be a part of. Maybe there's other Twitch streamers that you can partner with. Maybe there's like engaging or unique or creative ideas that you need more creators on that they can be streaming on of your stuff too, that you can be a part of. Maybe there's a world where you like are focusing on what are ways I can make more engaging, captivative content? Because I think that's also it too. Like if you're streaming and you've been doing it for like 5 years and you only had 3 people ever show up, maybe the content, and this is a spicy thing, maybe the content you're making is not interesting.
Oh,
Like,
that,
right?
that could be it. Yeah.
Maybe so you need to start like looking at like what are the things that are making other people popular, but don't copy them. Be unique, right? Make your own shtick that's different than everyone else. Build a network of people that will like support your channel, but like a network of people that are also bigger than you that you can like aspire to work with that will help grow you and get you where you want to go. And that's going to be that. Congratulations. You're going to be doing a world tour, going to all the conventions, right?
Oh yeah.
Meeting all the conventions,
Oh yeah.
meeting all the streamers, making contacts. Maybe one of them, will say, hey, I'm going to go play video games with you on stream. You never know. Right. So if there's like 3 things, it's be consistent, do it longer than you think you should do it for. Like in terms of length of time of consistently doing it for, because you're probably not doing it for long enough. You need to create original content, and you need to kind of focus on what your unique abilities are. And then you need to bust your butt to make like the biggest network of like supporters and like the network of other people who are in the community as possible and be authentic to them. Don't just leech off of them for viewers. People will feel that out and they'll say, I don't want to work with you. So you need to be like truly going with them with either ideas of collaborating or like other cool things, because creators like to create at the end of the day. And if you're creating cool things, they'll want to create those things with you, whether you have 1 follower or 100,000 followers. So those would be my 3.
Dude, that was really, really, yeah. Your network is your net worth. That's it. All looped back. Look at you. Did you plan that? The whole spiel, dude. Cody, this is your last question that I ask every guest, and then after you survive this question, you're gonna get the rest of the. I'll thank you for that. I'm gonna thank you for coming onto the podcast, and then you're gonna get to plug all of the fun socials at the end. So are you ready for your last question that everybody gets?
Sure.
All right. If you, when you were 18 years old, hot-tempered, hormonal teenage Cody, put yourself in that place. I don't know where it was.
Oh dear.
If that Cody is listening to the podcast right now, that Cody, but you have all of the knowledge that you have right now, and he's going to finish, he's made it to the end of the podcast. He's going to follow all of your socials, but after that, he's going to do one thing today, just one task, one thing. It can be meditation. It can be a physical task. It can be buying something. One thing for young 18-year-old Cody to do to help set him up for success, whether he knows it or not.
Make content sooner, learn more about broadcast. That would be it. Don't focus as much on music. It's not going to get you there. The end.
I love it. That's fucking phenomenal. That's the clearest answer I've gotten. Awesome. Start sooner. Literally. I think I tell everybody that, but when I used to listen to like YouTubers tell me that, I was like, these guys are assholes. They don't mean it. And I'm like, nope, that's it. It really is as easy as starting.
It's the biggest regret, because everyone was like, I know the path I'm on now, but I'm like, man, if I would have started this like 5 years ago, like, holy shit.
Different situation. Right.
Gone.
Right.
So someone's like, it's with everything. You should have invested sooner. You should have.
Yeah.
You should have spent the time sooner. It's I don't.
Dude, it's you can 2020 hindsight. So with that being said, Cody, I wanted to personally thank you as my friend for coming on this podcast. You are seriously a role model for me, so I know how valuable your time is.
Thanks,
No, seriously, you've been like a rock. You've known me for long enough for me to be fired twice. So it's crazy. Like that's how long, or maybe short, we've known each other.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
but every time like I've fallen down, like I just like could reach out. So I wanted to thank you for taking the time and always supporting men.
Always.
So with that being said, Cody, I want to give you the rest of this time. Listen, everybody in the audience, if you're listening or watching this, thank you for coming to the first episode of the second season of the Odd Man Out podcast. So, Cody, you're our debut guest. I've already just determined that.
Congrats. Hell yeah, I love it.
Cool. So, Cody, now that we have 1 million people watching season 2, plug away. I want you to share, where can people follow you, your team, your company? Let's just go through the list real slow, real clearly, because we're not on a time crunch.
I think everyone can follow me on like LinkedIn, Cody Chesneau. It's pretty straightforward. On Instagram and others, it's like Echo Breaker, but that was my DJ name. So I'm not really, I don't really post much on social medias as like a human. I might do a little bit more on LinkedIn now, but that's probably going to be as much as I post. Otherwise you're just going to see, pictures of my dog or maybe like a random event like on a beach or something. So just not a big social person. That being said, I think people who are listening to this should follow Film Quality Services on Twitch, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. We're going to be producing a lot of more original content through what we do for Not a Real Show and for other shows that we do. So go and look on those places, right? See the content that we're making. You have questions about it, you guys can always ask me. Also, my Discord name is Cody Ches. That's probably where I am normally found. I'm on it 24/7. So if you find it, you can friend me there. I'll send you a link to the FQS Discord. You can always find us, and we're always having conversations about music or gaming or something like that. I almost suggest going there versus like traditional social medias, but you can always see us on Twitch, and we produce Not a Real shows like every other month where we're making our own content just to mess around and come in the chat with us. I love to see people and talk shit. So
awesome, Cody. Well, before we go, I want to give you an additional plug because we did mention it. You said do you want to talk at all about the opportunity in Not a Real Show for people who may be local, or if not, it's fine. We could add it on.
I mean, we're starting with Not a Real Show. It's a training program where we teach people how to do broadcast for people who may not have the tools or may not have been in broadcast before. So we build this as like a 1-day crash course that you may know nothing about broadcast. And by the end of the day, we're producing something that goes on Twitch, and you can learn anything. If you want to be a camera operator or a lighting or a director or a TD or a engineer, like we'll teach you all the tools, and we give you all the tools here. You just have to basically show up and be willing to learn and be coached, and like we'll get you there by the end of the day. We're doing our next one on the 11th, so that's in literally 3 days. So feel free to tune in on Twitch at Film Quality Services, and you'll see us hanging out. If you want to be involved in the next one, happy to have you. Just look for when we do them in Discord. We usually post about it, and we're going to start posting them on our website on filmqualityservices.com. I think it's going to be / Not a Real Show or something along those lines, where you can register for the next one. And then we'll have like a form. Nice. You have positions, and we can see who wants to know what positions, and we're going to make it like a lot more streamlined. So awesome. Definitely, if you want to learn, like happy to have you. Definitely in alpha beta phase of testing with this, but everybody who's gone through it has loved the program, and we've had a lot of people come back. So really excited for what we're going to produce. Happy to have you.
Yeah. Well, Cody, like I said, very excited to have you on the show. I will actually be stopping by the studio this weekend on the 11th to see you guys in action. So I'm excited to go
Hell yeah.
see how the process is. Yeah. So thank you for
You're
having
gonna be in
me.
it.
I know. Well,
You
I didn't
be-
know if I was allowed to share it, but like I
yeah,
was
you
waiting
be
for
in
the
it. I don't
boss.
care.
Okay, cool. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
I'll
it's
be
fine.
there on Saturday.
Yeah.
Cody was like, "Hey, do you want to be a host or director?" And I was like, "All
Yeah,
right,
man.
cool. Let's do it." So I will go through your program and then I'll be able to talk more about it. So
You will know.
yeah, I'll know firsthand. Very excited, man. Seriously. I think that
It'll be a
I
fun
wanted,
time.
yeah, I wanted you to plug it because that's something that like Odd Man Out wants to do one day is like get people in and hands-on stuff, but I don't have those resources. So guys, please check out Film Quality Services Discord. I will get that link from Cody and I'm in there too now. So we'll be I'm causing a racket, but we need more people to cause a racket. Cody,
Need more people.
we need more people. Thank you so much, dude. Seriously, you're always a breath of fresh air. And I was stressed before this podcast too. I'm always stressed, but after I talk with you, I feel like my blood pressure goes down.
Well, I'm glad to have provided that for you. Thanks for having me on. This is fun. Love talking about it, and hopefully for someone out there, this makes an impact for them.
Yeah,
So,
dude. Well, I'm sure it will. Thank you, dude. Seriously. And everybody go drop Cody a follow. He doesn't like social medias. So join the Discord. I'm with him. He's a real one. Just join the Discord. It's funny as
Discord.
heck.
We'll chat there.
Awesome,
I don't
guys.
need the followers.
Awesome. Thanks for tuning in to the first episode of the Odd Man Out podcast with our guest, Cody. We will see you on the next one.